There's starting to become, at least what looks like to me, a fracture within the housing market. Economic reports are starting to show that this divide could essentially split into two different markets for those who are actively searching for a home. On one side, we're seeing home builders cutting prices, buying down mortgage rates, helping with closing costs, and throwing in upgrades just to get buyers through the door. But current homeowner of the house that's for sale a block away, they may completely refuse to lower their asking price by even $10,000. So one's got to kind of ask themselves, what do builders know that regular home buyers aren't seeing? Are builders preparing for a housing crash and just desperate to unload homes before prices fall? Or are new homes and existing homes simply able to play by completely different rules? Or builders across the nation are cutting prices. Nearly 2/3 are using incentives. And buyer traffic is still weak. It probably comes as no surprise to hear that the builder confidence statistic just dropped again. But that doesn't automatically mean that builders believe the market is about to collapse. It means builders have one thing many homeowners don't. Most often, builders have a legitimate reason to do whatever is necessary in order to make a deal happen right now. That's the difference. And once you understand the pressure that builders are feeling to sell, you may start looking at new construction and the entire housing market very differently. As I mentioned before, the Builder Confidence Index fell to 34 in July. That's down from 36 in June. Any reading below 50 means more builders view market conditions as poor rather than good. Builder confidence has now remained below 40 for 15 consecutive months. That's the longest stretch like that since 2012. So that's why these incentives the builders are offering are telling an even bigger story, because around 63% of builders reported using some type of sales incentive. Approximately 37% were cutting prices, with that average price cut reduction landing near 6%. Updated economic reports show that builder traffic weakened. Expectations for future sales have declined, and new home sales had already fallen sharply in May, despite all of the discounts builders were offering. No longer is this just a story about builders feeling nervous. The story has now developed into how many builders are already responding to these slower times. They're adjusting prices, changing financing packages, and attempting to create affordability in a market where many buyers still cannot comfortably handle their monthly payment. That creates a very unusual situation where you could tour two similar homes in the same general area, one being brand new, packaged with a builder paid rate reduction, closing cost assistance, a warranty, and some upgraded appliances. The other home you're looking at is 10 years old. It may need some work, yet the homeowner is holding firm on their asking price. Why such a difference in the seller's willingness to meet you where you're at? Because those two sellers are under completely different pressures. Let's start by looking why builders need to sell. From a sheer psychological standpoint, there's not a builder out there that is emotionally attached to a house in the way that a current homeowner is. The builder didn't raise their children there. They aren't thinking about what their neighbor's house sold for 3 years ago. Builders are looking at the house as a business asset, and that asset costs money every day it remains unsold. A builder may be carrying a construction loan, and with that comes interest charges, property taxes, insurance. There's going to be maintenance. Of course, they have payroll and operating expenses. Several completed homes sitting in inventory in another phase of the development waiting to begin. They cannot always afford to say, let's just pull the listing off the house and we'll try again next year. Builders need velocity in order to make their business turn. They need to sell one home so they can finish the next one, pay down their construction financing, keep their crews moving, and open the next phase of that neighborhood. That doesn't necessarily mean they expect prices to collapse. It means that any unsold home is creating a daily expense. So instead of waiting indefinitely, builders use tools to make the deal work. They may reduce the price, they may pay thousands of closing costs, or offer a permanent mortgage rate buydown. They may include appliances, landscaping, finished basement, or any other upgrades. The important thing for buyers to understand is that builders are often negotiating around the monthly payment, not just that listing price. That should be encouraging and important for you. Now, compare that with a typical homeowner who has listed their home for sale. That homeowner may have purchased or refinanced when mortgage rates were around the 3% 3%. And if that's the case, they may have some substantial equity in this home. They may not have a urgent deadline like so many of the builders do. In some scenarios, if you as a buyer offer a price that works for your budget, but let's say that same offer is below the amount that the seller wants, the seller will eventually just remove the home from the market. They can stay put. That's a certain type of patience and luxury that a builder probably doesn't have. And then there's also that emotional component. A homeowner may remember what the neighbor received during the boom years of 2019, 20, and 21. They may have invested money in flooring, countertops, landscaping, or a finished basement, and they may believe those improvements should translate dollar for dollar right into their selling price. They may see a price reduction as losing money, even when the market is simply telling them what today's buyers can afford, or I'd say in a lot of instances, what buyers cannot afford. That doesn't make the homeowner greedy, nor does a builder offering an incentive make them desperate. It just means each seller has a different motivation. The builder needs inventory to move, while the homeowner, they may only sell if the numbers make the move worthwhile. That's why the housing market has started to feel like it's split in two. Bringing in the focus on the Midwest markets is where we're seeing a little bit of a twist on these statistics in comparison to the overall national stats. Nationally, builders are feeling pressure, but earlier 2026 data showed that the Midwest has been one of the strongest regions for new home activity, with sales improving even while other parts of the country have weakened. That creates a more nuanced picture here. A builder outside Sioux Falls may still attract buyers because they can offer a lower mortgage rate or help with closing costs. A homeowner in Des Moines may hold firm because they have a low existing mortgage payment, no reason to rush. And a builder near Omaha with several completed homes may become increasingly motivated to move the remaining inventory before opening their next phase of that development. Of course, these are illustrative examples, but they show how differently the two sides can approach that same buyer. One seller may offer you a financing package worth tens of thousands of dollars. The other may tell you their price is firm. Neither one is necessarily wrong. You just need to understand what each seller values and where you may have some leverage. Should a prospective buyer like yourself be asking which home is actually a better deal? Not quite yet. This is where buyers need to slow down a little bit. A new home is not automatically a better deal just because the builder offers incentives. And an existing home is not automatically overpriced just because the seller refuses to negotiate. You have to compare the total cost of ownership. And if you haven't owned a home before, you're going to be looking at me crazy right now. That's fine. Let's just work through an example to illustrate what I mean by this. Let's say a new construction home listed at $425,000. You have the builder offers some credits for a mortgage rate buy down, $5,000 towards closing costs, you get the new appliances, and a builder warranty. Compare that offer with an existing home that's listed for $400,000. At first glance, the lower price is looking a lot better, but the existing home may need a new roof within 5 years, updated heating and cooling, new appliances, flooring or paint, and more immediate maintenance. Those are some of the inherent items to consider when purchasing a home that has been lived in previously. Now, on the other hand, the new home could come with any of the items that come along with a newly constructed home, such as landscaping expenses, window coverings, a fence, a finished basement still to complete, and not to forget the higher property taxes once fully assessed. This is why I tell buyers not to compare only the sticker price. It's important to consider the entire picture. It's important to consider the full monthly payment, property taxes, insurance, utilities, expected repairs, included upgrades, builder warranties, seller credits, and what you may need to spend during the first several years. The home with the highest asking price may occasionally create the lower overall cost, but you only know that after running the entire equation. So what to do with this information? I'd start by first comparing new construction and resale homes side by side. Even if you assumed you couldn't afford a new home, ask what incentives are currently available. A builder paid rate reduction can change the monthly payment just enough. Second, ask for the complete incentive package in writing. Find out whether the advertised rate is temporary or permanent, how much the builder is contributing, whether taking the incentive package changes the home's price, and whether you could receive a different concession instead. Third, inspect the property and research the builder. New doesn't mean perfect. Use an independent home inspector and understand the warranty process being offered to you. Fourth, estimate the future property taxes carefully. A new home may initially show taxes based on the vacant lot or partial construction. The final tax bill can be significantly different once the completed home is assessed. And finally, negotiate with both types of sellers differently. With a builder, ask about rate buydowns, closing costs, upgrades, finished inventory, and homes near the end of a development phase. With an existing homeowner, use recent comparable sales, findings from an inspection, days on market, and the home's condition to support your offer. Don't assume the builder will always negotiate either. And don't assume the homeowner never will negotiate. If you can, the sweet spot will appear once you can find out what problem each seller is trying to solve. Builders are cutting deals while many homeowners, they're holding firm. But that doesn't necessarily mean builders are predicting a crash. What it does mean is that builders have carrying costs, construction loans, payroll, completed inventory, and new phases that depend on homes continuing to sell. Existing homeowners may have low rates, equity, time on their hands. They can afford to wait. So the real story isn't that builders know the market is collapsing. It's that builders understand they must create affordability if they want today's payment-sensitive buyer to finally act. And that gives buyers an opportunity, but only when they compare the entire deal. Smartest question here is not which house has the lowest price. It's which seller is offering me the best overall path into home ownership. Hey, if you're comparing new construction with an existing home in South Dakota, Iowa, or Nebraska, I can help you run the financing side by side, including the rate, incentives, taxes, insurance, and a true monthly payment. Because in this divided housing market, the best deal may not be the home with the lowest price. It may be the seller with the strongest reason to negotiate.